afternoon and welcome to another Kerfuffle show here. Delighted to have with us Mike Delapper Vouch. Hello, how are you, Mike? You okay?
Not too bad, thanks. There's not enough coffee in the world today, but other than that, yeah, no complaints.
Excellent. Okay, good stuff. Becky Dutton from CGT Letting. How are you, Becky? You well?
I'm very good. A little bit cooler than last week, which is nice, but
that was fantastically needed. I was hiding under rocks and anywhere else like that last week. As a chippy northerner, I didn't cope well with that weather at all.
Yeah. No, it's just rained here, but I think it's stopped, so that'll do now. More sunshine, please.
Just to explain to the audience, we haven't done some sort of Olympic choreograph here. I am doing the little man routine, so Mike is very much top of the tree here as the alpha, and I'm just sat doing my Ronnie Corbett routine at the bottom end. But we're going to talk today. The title is really how the pandemic has changed the way we reference. And what I'm really keen to understand from you guys is to understand, obviously, Mike, from your point, what Vouch did in terms of understanding how the market was changing, and then, of course, Becky, from your point of view as a user, to see, how they helped you along in the process as we've all tried to find a way through. So, can I just kick off just to start off with, if that's all right, Mike? When it first we went straight into lockdown, what were the first steps you took in terms of realizing that you had to pivot and change the business?
Sure, and it's been a while since I've been called Mark, by the way, but I mean, I've been called a lot worse, so I'll take Mark, honestly. But from there, to be fair, I wouldn't say what we were doing at Vouch, because obviously our platform is digitally based. It's something you can do online. It's cloud based. So I wouldn't say as soon as the pandemic hit, we were all sat here going, "Oh no, what are we going to do?" Because we actually had a product that was quite well adapted for for sort of being online and being able to provide a solution from there. It was more, can we emphasize that? Can we get that information out into a wider scope? So in a sense, can we also look to grow what we're doing here by saying to agents in particular, we have this solution for you already. It isn't something drastic you need to go out there and try and evolve with. It's here, and we had to spend more time promoting that as well.
Would it be fair to say then on that point, one of the biggest competitors I guess you have is not per se the actual competitors. It's actually been the intransigence of some agents who have always done it in one particular way and they don't want to change. And actually, for you, that might have, not that you ever want to use the pandemic as an excuse for an improvement in business, but it did force them to change what they were doing, didn't it?
And I couldn't agree more. I think the thing about it is, we're very lucky in that Vouch can sit here and say, look, during pandemic times, these hard times have all been going through, we've actually done really well and continue to grow. And we don't say that with an arrogance. We're actually quite humble about it because it did happen. From there, in our time, I think over the pandemic, we've practically doubled in staff size because we have that online digital solution that doesn't involve having 40 people running around doing referencing in a really old school way where they're having to go through call centers and pens and paper and all that jazz. So it's, I know it sounds a bit, but we're not sat here saying, great, we profited from a horrible situation or something like that, but we did have a solution that people could use and agents found a lot of value in as well. And that's just how it fell.
Excellent. And Becky, from your point of view, could you just give a bit of context where you are in the business with CGT Lettings and just explain to us how long you've been with Vouch, and again, just that kind of process of how you saw them helping you through this pandemic period?
Yeah, well, like Mike said, the fact that everything's all digital was fantastic for us during lockdown. I've been with the company for coming up 2 years, and I know it was about 2 years before that we swapped over to them. And it was great. I mean, we were all working from home. No one knew when the lockdown was lifted, but we still managed as an agent to rent properties digitally and do references sat, at our own desks at home, because like I said, everything was done. They could upload everything from their own phones onto Vouch, and we can download it from Vouch and upload it to our system without having to have any paper trails as such. I mean, when we came back to the office, we did, because we do have to have a paper trail in the end of the day, but we could do everything digitally, which was phenomenal, and it was a great help. And like I said, we still managed to tie up lets for our landlords.
And I think it's worth pointing out, isn't it? It's a good job that you know, if we'd gone back even kind of 5 years ago, certainly 10 years ago, and we'd gone into this period, we literally couldn't have coped in the same way. I mean, you know, with tools like Vouch that are so accessible, so easy to do, the digital experience and everything else there, that did allow you without too much of a hop, skip and a jump, did it, to not just maintain, but to extend that service that you gave to clients.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've been doing this job for many a year, and like you said, it's only been in the last probably about 5-6 years that it has all gone online, where before tenants would have to physically come in and fill out forms. And also from a tenant's point of view as well, it's nice and quick for them. They get updates automatically from Vouch. So from an agent's point of view, they're not phoning us all the time going, what's happening with my references? Where are we? Because they know they're kept up to date constantly through Vouch, which is brilliant. And they update us at the same time.
Yeah.
But I think tenants and people are getting more used to technology and used to doing everything online, where back in the day you'd email them something and they might, you know, have an email that they set up when they were 16 at school and have never checked, and they've got 20 million junk things in them. But people are a lot more digitally accessible now.
That's true, isn't it? You know, you're not being judged against, again, the competitors in this industry per se. People actually have an expectation now because of what they're ordering their taxis on Uber, whether they're ordering their food on Deliveroo, all that instant ability to do stuff like that at the touch of a button on whatever device is pretty much now the norm, isn't it? Expected. And if you aren't able to meet that expectation, they're going to judge you unfairly, regardless actually of what the competition are doing.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, you know, we have to, as an agent, as you know, as Vouch have done, you have to evolve and you have to, you know, be ahead of the times to meet people's expectations like that. You know, we've started doing things a lot more digitally now than we ever used to, and it's having a great effect on us because people are able to view properties from the comfort of their own home. People don't really want to, like you said, everything's digital. You can order your food online, you can order clothes online, you can order like anything. Amazon's, you know, opened the world up to 2 minutes later it's on your desk. So people want that instant, and that's what Vouch can offer. It's, you know, the references come back very, very quickly. You know, but when I first started doing this, you might have been waiting a week, 2 weeks for a reference to come back. Yeah. But with the way the Vouch do it, they're constantly updating the tenant going, we still haven't heard back. Can you do this? Can you do that? So it puts more emphasis on the tenant to do something rather than just the agent. And like I said, constant updates, which is fantastic. And that's what everyone wants.
Everyone's, you know, I say everyone, lots of people are like me, are like floaty butterflies, aren't they? The minute that actually it drifts out of your kind of attention span as well, it takes them a long while to get them back inside, doesn't it? To get them back on the ball there. So if you are able to deal with it in a short period of time, you're going to have far less fall throughs and just being able to make sure that everything goes through without a hitch.
Yeah, and when things, you know, references do come back and they're a fail, which does happen, not everyone always tells the truth on their application forms, and hence the reason we use people like Vouch to double check these things. But because it's so quick, then you're not having a massive delay of a property being, you know, off the market. You can put it back on the next day, or you can phone the people that, you know, have also come forward for it and get it tied up again. Also, from an agent's point of view, that, you know, the benefit of being so quickly is that, you know, one of our branches, they had someone come in on a Thursday, they moved in on a Friday. Yeah. You know, and that all helps. You know, it helps the landlords. Landlords are happier because they've got less void periods. Helps us obviously with our figures and our numbers and getting lets in, and it helps this applicant because he was living in a hotel. So everyone was happy, and we wouldn't be able to do that if, you know, the references took as long as they used to do.
Yeah, and I think.
Sorry, go on, Mike.
No, sorry, Simon. I was going to say the one thing I think Becky was almost touching on it there, but we find it very widespread with the agents who we talk to and deal with on a day-to-day basis. What sort of the whole referencing process lacked before Vouch came on the scene was being able to include an agent in what's happening. You know, we used to find that an agent would sort of say, like, you know, I've no idea what's happening with this reference. I'll just have to ring and chase and find out. Having that ability to have it on the fingertips and say, here you go, have a look. You know, some agents will look at that, oh, great, I've got to do a little bit more work. You do, there's a little bit more on your lap you have to deal with, but it almost lets you take part when you need to as well, rather than just simply sat around with someone who's not an employee of yours, that you don't have that trust with, carrying out some work that you can't even see. It's quite a laboured old school process.
Got you. And I think, again, that's, one of the things that I've heard people talk about is with the downward pressure that there is on, things like tenant referencing. People have said, well, it's getting commoditized now and it's all the same. But the problem with that, a bit like when they talk about with online agents, is you've got to be able to deliver at the price point you guys have, Mike, haven't you, with Vouch? You can't just go and do that by sucking the service out of it. You have to have the technical, technical platform to be able to get those efficiencies to do that at scale, don't you? And that's what a lot of people just forget. If you're just taking the bottom out of it, then you are going to take service out of it. But you've come at it from quite a disruptional point of view in that approach, haven't you?
Yeah, that's where the savings have come from. It's more, can we take this process? And essentially the word that I say more than anything in this office when I'm speaking about Vouch is automate. Because we've automated out the entire process and made it tenant friendly, as well as making it a smooth journey for the tenants to do, for the agents to see, it's also slimmed the costs right down. So what we're not passing off at the end of the process is, here, you've made a massive saving, and that's only because we've diluted the whole service down to the point where it's, noticeably a worse product than those who pay full price. They're still getting the same, report, reference, experience. The same thing is still coming out at the end of the ketchup bottle once they've banged on the end of it. It's just they've literally spent about a quarter of the price to do it. And that's the joy of it, because we do have some, over the years, I think a lot of other providers out there have either tried to copy what we do unsuccessfully, but also undercut us on price. But then those agents who've gone out there and undertaken that and thought, great, I'll go and spend £3 on this new reference service, they're then coming back a month later and saying, well, actually, it's rubbish. It's not doing what I need it to do. It's such a poor process, and that's the difference in our eyes.
That makes it. Would you echo that, Becky, in terms of that's your kind of experience of it as well? Is that, certainly in terms of what their service is back to you, that it's able to deliver on that promise of the customer satisfaction?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, it's not often that we do have to phone them if there's any queries, but as soon as we do, it's sorted straight away. And I always think, yes, as a business, you always want to find the best. I always think the best product out there, not necessarily the best deal and the money saving thing, because just because it's, like you said, Mike, just because it's cheaper doesn't mean it's better. So sometimes it's good to pay, the extra couple of quid to get the better service. And to have people, like I said, on the phone even when you need them to get it sorted. So if we ever have an issue with a reference that comes back, if there's a query on it, literally phone them, they answer straight away, and it's sorted straight away. So again, we're not waiting for people to phone you back or anything like that. So if it's, I've used other companies within doing this for so long, and that's what I've had to do before. Not within CGT, it's with, before I came here, but it's frustrating when you're waiting, you've got someone that's moving in the next day, you're waiting just for everything else is ready to go, and you left them a message with a query and they take 3 hours to get back to you.
Critical point of failure, isn't it?
Yeah, because then you've got even less a limited time to get it rectified for the next day. So if you phone at Vouch and they said, right, this is the issue, you can get it sorted then, and you can still move people in.
Thank you. And Mike, from your point of view, with all that, it's kind of, you've got a lot of analytical skills, obviously, there over at Vouch, and so during that pandemic, were you able to identify any pain points in essentially the rental sector during the pandemic? And if you did, were you able to actually do anything to help the agents combat those?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, outside of just referencing, what Vouch does, it's kind of like a bit of a one-stop shop for other things. So the other things I'm about to mention to you actually all handily arrived on pain points at some point during the last 12 or 18 months. First off, rent guarantee insurance. A lot of providers out there, insurance providers out there, just dropped the cover. There was no cover because obviously very difficult market for them to operate in without charging massive premiums and ultimately pricing themselves out of that. We were quite lucky in that our rent guarantee insurance provider actually was one of the quickest ones back on the market with a good level of cover. So as a result of that, there's a lot of agents out there who used it already and wanted to carry on using it, who then came to us to ask about it and on board. And also there was those agents as well who literally never touched rent guarantee insurance before, and they were sat there thinking, well, actually, I've got absolutely hundreds of landlords asking for it. They're going berserk, and that was something we could help them with as well. So absolutely, definitely having that was a real pain point, certainly in the first 6 months. Not because I think the great disaster happened. I don't think it actually happened. But the difference is there's always that scare. Is scaredness a word? I'm not even sure if it's a real thing. But
if I can call you Mark, you can call it.
Yeah, exactly. It's not countdown. I get that. I can probably get away with the odd thing here that I couldn't normally. But the thing about it is there was they were frightened of what was on the horizon, as we all were as well. So it's just having that solution in place to say to him, here it is. It's a product that you can use that your landlords will want, and it genuinely being the case as well.
Well, look, guys, thank you very much for taking your time out to talk to us about it today. It's always really good to hear actual end users of this. We always obviously love talking to the suppliers themselves, but it really brings it to life when you can hear obviously how it helps you on a day-to-day basis. I'd encourage everybody obviously to go and have a look at the Vouch landing page on kerfuffle.com there. See, I think you've got over I think you've got 40 reviews plus or something like that, all of them 5-star, all of them goes quite a bit of detail talking about the different elements about how they like you. So there's a lot of social proof in there from what obviously the guys have been talking about today. And even better than that, if you want to give them a go as well, new Vouch customers who are Kerfuffle members will also get 10 free references. So there's no better time to give you guys a go really than at the moment, is there, Mike?
Yeah,
that's absolutely correct. Yeah, we don't give away much for free as well, so take advantage.
I wasn't expecting you to disagree with me, funny enough there. So. Guys, thank you very much. Becky, appreciate your time out. I know how red hot the market is, so it really is well appreciated. But for today, thank you very much, Becky and Mike. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Simon.
See you soon.
Thanks very much.
Bye.